When wandering down the halls of high school, you may encounter students on crutches or in cast. And since we tend to be curious beings, the gears in our head instantly start turning and grinding, trying to figure out what possibly could have happened to this random person in the hallway that caused them to end up in their situation. But let's forget about the physical pain you're picturing for a second, and imagine the other side of the spectrum, which is typically avoided by most: mental pain. Unlike the physical injuries, which tend to be obvious, mental pain hides within the dark crevices of school halls. It's hidden so well that picking out a person with mental illness would be as challenging as finding a needle in a haystack. However, the fact is that 1 out of every 5 students battle with some type of mental illness on a daily basis. Many students who suffer from a disorder struggle to maintain not only their schoolwork, but also their responsibilities at home. But it's not just the teenage population that is taking a toll. 1 out of every 4 adults also deal with the burdens having a mental illness can create. And with over 200 mental illnesses in existence, the thought of only a handful suffering from a psychological disorder soon becomes an understatement compared to the reality of thousands being victims. From depression and anxiety to schizophrenia and bipolar disorder, mental illnesses are becoming prominent issues throughout our current society. But how do you define a problem that no one can see? The first step to combating the issue at hand is to know exactly what mental illness is. Mental illness refers to a large variety of psychological health conditions, such as disorders that affect the way you feel, think, or behave. Researchers have numerous ideas behind the cause of mental disorders, although they have not pinpointed the exact reason. With a network of connections within our brain, it can prove to be a difficult task when locating a singular reason behind something as large-scale as a mental disorder. They believe psychological disorders are brought upon by a combination of things or situations. Most researchers believe genetics, along with environmental and biological aspects, are to blame for the mysterious disorders occurring within someone's mind. But if this problem occurs within an individual's mind, then this leaves the public to question who exactly is experiencing mental unsoundness.
In the mental health field, we use, psychiatrists use it, psychologists, social workers, anybody, and physicians would have one of these on their shelf too. There's a large diagnostic manual, and it's called DSM-5, and it's all about diagnosing all this broad spectrum of mental illness. And they sort of systemized it, and sort of put it in a system so you can say, if you do this, they list 10 things. And then the person does this, 7 of these 10 things, they're likely to be this diagnosis. It's sort of a shorthand. Does that make sense? So that is the standard that everybody uses.
Although there is no cure for someone enduring psychological disorders, there are some ways to treat the symptoms associated with them. Depending on the severity of the illness, psychiatrists may recommend several options in order to suit the patient's needs. In most cases, therapy or medication is advised. However, multicolored medications can be frightening for someone who already feels alone in their fight against themselves. But without medication, victims may become harmful to themselves or others in their community, causing the patient to often be admitted involuntarily to a hospital or a psych ward. Typically, this scenario is the extreme side of the spectrum, used more as a last resort. But this situation arises more than people think. 1 out of every 3 patients that end up hospitalized each year are mental illness patients. But what if we could change the whole game of mental disorders? By implementing awareness programs along with multiple studies, the very thought of mental disorders could be erased for future generations to come. A world free of mental pain is in our grasp. We just need to continue studying the millions of neurological connections firing within our minds.